Hey guys, it's Quickie Baby, and 9.2 is rumored to be released this week, and I have been detailing all of the changes to the maps that will be coming with the new iteration of World of Tanks. There are quite a lot of maps to get through, and some of the changes will have significant impacts on the gameplay. So without further ado, let's take a look around the new revamped Sacred Valley. So Sacred Valley is a map that's set in Korea. It was released in 8.6 and it was removed several patches later for balancing issues. The key change is the fact there is no longer a prominent hill located in the north of the map. If we go along the north ridge, we can see that it is now very much flat, whereas previously the fighting would be occurring up here and you could be shooting down on your opponents as well as engaging the opponents who are opposite you. There are now multiple paths to follow, as we can clearly see here, so the fighting should be less linear with more opportunities to outflank your opponents. With the lack of height now and ridgelines that do cover you from other sides of the map, this does mean that the fighting towards the north will be very much contained within its own area. However, don't worry, there will be certain opportunities for you to be able to get fire towards the central part of the map, when you can avoid shooting through this hill that they've added right here. Now this hill looks very interesting to me indeed. There are lots of places where you can get in, perhaps in a heavy tank, and have both of your sides covered, as well as hopefully using the hill to avoid fire from the artillery. While previously there used to be a ridge lining along here that you would have to advance up, and a very strong position here, which would be used to shoot up at the hill that located at the north. That is all gone, and it has been replaced with a very nice looking feature of the map, this fortress in the center. From what I found, it is not possible to get up into this central fortress position, and it acts as an immovable feature for which the battle on Sacred Valley is going to have to revolve around. Now, if you really enjoyed the fighting that went on in this southern hill town area, then don't be worried, it is not disappearing, not at all. There are still strong vantage points that you can take to get effective fire off on the enemies below. And the infamous fighting that went on round the back of here will continue. The rat run that was along the south part of this map, for me, is unchanged. And hopefully we're still going to see some epic jumping off this bridge onto enemies below. For me personally, the 8.6 version of Sacred Valley was absolutely fantastic, and I did like the map. This 9.2 version has even more opportunities for outflanking your opponents, and I think it's going to be a real good reintroduction into the repertoire of the World of Tanks map rotation. So that's quite enough looking at this old new map. Let's take a look at some of the changes that are going to be happening to the maps which are currently in rotation. So here we're looking at Cliff, and there have been significant changes to this central western part of the map. I believe this rock formation that sticks out here is new, and it is very possible to go hull down on with some of your taller vehicles. More importantly, this position has been visually enhanced to show that it is easily traversable for not just fast light tanks, but for any tanks. Now, while all tanks could get up here in the last iteration of this map, they had to go from here and squeeze their way along here, and generally the larger and the worse your engine power, the slower you would get up. This kind of encouraged teams that spawned in the south to try and rush for this location, and if you spawned in the north, you would have to go all the way round and then change your angle and make your way up the slope unless you wanted to reverse with your rear armor to enemies who would quite often barge around the corner. Also, many players were unknowledgeable about the fact that you could actually climb this slope and would be ambushed from above. Now it is more easily traversable. I expect to see lots of heavy tanks and even more medium tanks using this shortcut to be able to reach this central part of the map. When you're here, this dip in the terrain will mean that it's going to be even easier for tanks with medium gun depression to be able to go hull down and engage enemies that locate around here. And also for tanks to perhaps go further out around this corner and engage enemies up here. Now, those aren't the only changes to Cliff. The lighthouse has been changed as well. Previously, there was only one pass up, and it favored the team that spawned in the north to be able to reach it. Now there's another route that which can be taken, which is probably going to be used by the team that spawns up the south. So, light tanks and medium tanks, rejoice. There's going to be even more opportunity to get as high as you can to spot and to shoot at targets where opportunity allows you to. Now the deadlock fighting that usually occurs towards the east is probably going to be changed as well. So we can see here there are some rocky outcrops which you can use, as well as the far east being lowered, which should encourage people to use them, go hull down, and to try and outflank opponents who would usually only just hug in here and be simply devastated as soon as you got around that corner by enemies who like to camp here. Now you could hug the cliffs and make your way all the way round in relative security. Apart from artillery, this route is going to be very dangerous from artillery, but at least you're not going to be camped down by tank destroyers that like to sit in base. And the symmetry on this map has also increased. As we can see, there are buildings and rocks here to hide behind. If you do get caught out the open when you're trying to make it along this pass, you are going to have some cover to fall back behind. These changes have made Cliff more symmetrical than it has ever been, and I think they're good changes. So no longer is it going to be the case of the northern team gets to fight for the hill, and the southern team generally dominates the central part. Fighting in the east will be more dangerous from artillery, but should be more tactical, and no longer are you simply going to be able to camp in your spawn in a tank destroyer and decimate your opponents. So now let's take a look at the changes that have occurred to Sand River. So one of the original maps, Sand River, has indeed been changed. You are no longer going to be able to reach the top of the hill towards the northeast here. Previously, people would locate up here and shoot down at anyone defending here, which was particularly devastating, especially for the assault map. Nevertheless, this kind of camping discouraged people to get down into the important area and made the assault, which the end goal is to take the enemy base or destroy all the opponents within the 10 minutes, very frustrating for players who wanted to play it aggressively. To be able to shoot down into the green spawn as you see it now, you're going to have to be able to come all the way out around here, where you're going to have significantly less height advantage over your opponents, or you're going to have to fall back behind the left or the right. So now I'm showing you the sand dunes located to the south of Sand River in 9.1. So I've taken a couple of screenshots, one from 9.2 and one from 9.1, so you can see the differences in the dunes. Here are the old dunes in 9.1, and I'm going to add the new dunes over them. Here we go. So if I go back and forth between the images, we can see there is one very prominent new dune that has been added, which is along here. We can also see that the dune along here has been raised as well. What this translates to, and we're looking at the old version 9.1, is that you're going to get more cover from the people that locate over here towards the east. While you're advancing, you're going to have a ridge along here that you can stop behind. And also, if you're advancing along the south part of the map, the dune that will be enhanced here or enriched will enable you to not get shot from the town as much, and it might even provide you some protection from people who like to locate up here. All in all, nice changes to Sand River. You should have a little bit more protection from very long-ranged targets along the south, and people that like to use the northeast will find it much harder to be able to fire down onto people who are located in the spawn, which will have a large effect on the assault game mode. Now let's move along and take a look at the changes to Hidden Village. So the main change to this very recent map, Hidden Village, is the area located to the northeast. There is a pass which should favor heavier tanks to use this part of the map than was previously possible. This whole area is definitely going to encourage a variety of maneuvers around this map, where previously all of the heavies and the tank destroyers would like to locate up towards the south. This will probably nerf the mid-ridge position from people that would initially go northeast and then move towards the south and towards the west. Now, I don't visit this location very much, but I'm giving you it a run over anyway. I do believe that these rocks here could be new to provide you some more cover as you're making your way into the enemy base. For me, however, there is still one key problem with this map, and that is this gigantic mountain here. It makes about a quarter of the map impassable, which means that the rest of it is a fairly linear fight, which is very narrow. Nevertheless, with the changes that are occurring to the northeast, maybe we're going to see more maps won via winning this northern part, i.e. the village, rather than players just simply powering their way through the south. So El Haloof is one of the most changed maps, and in 9.2, there are some changes coming to it yet again. So we can see that the pass along here will allow the team that spawns towards the northeast to very much more easily be able to get to the Middle Eastern part of the map. However, don't fear, this is only passable one way. You can only go down it, and you simply can't go up it. If you were able to go up here, it would have huge consequences for El, but you just can't. Towards the red spawn, there are significant changes. We can see that the rock that was located towards here has been moved further down. It has grown, and it is multiplied. There are now 2 locations for you to hide behind. Nevertheless, going down here is going to be committing. You won't very easily be able to pull back the 50 to 100 meters that were required to go back behind the slope. And if you do so, then you're going to very much open yourself up to fire from other parts of the map. This location was completely dominant at shooting anyone that came out from around there, and also from engaging anyone that came out around here. While you're still going to be able to shoot from locations such as here, you should be able to get fired back upon. Plus, as you are now lower down, it's going to be harder for you to be able to penetrate your targets. On closer inspection, we find that the rock that we were talking about is now embedded into this outcrop here. So the significant thing is that the players that were camping behind this rock are now going to have to locate here if they want to have the same effectiveness. They're going to be a hell of a lot closer towards the east. What this means is that the people will be able to spot these gentlemen very much more easily. And you won't have to advance along here before you have to spot the players that were killing you from up here. Now for the flabbergasting, gigantic 9.2 El Haloof change, and that is this place here. Previously, this rock was completely open terrain, and this would have been the cap circle. Now this huge location up here should make the fighting that occurred towards the northwest of the map very much less linear. A lot of you may be looking at this and feeling very out of touch with El Haloof. Just to reorientate you guys, this might be a more familiar situation for you. Pokety poke, and pokety poke back round the corner and hide from artillery. Oh, I've exposed myself, I get artilleried. Oh, I get pulled back. Now this part of the terrain is no longer traversable. Because they've done that, they've added a location here that you might be able to use to hide behind. And also poke out around this corner to be able to engage your opponents. And boy, what a surprise that'll be when people here are going to be getting the jump on players over here. All in all, El Haloof has been completely changed, and the players that take the hill will no longer have to go down to be able to get up into the enemy base. There no longer really is a hill because both of the areas either side have been heightened. So now there's more of a rocky outcrop towards the corner of the map that you're going to have to fight your way through if you want to use that pass to be able to get to your opponents. El Haloof is going to play out completely differently, and I think this is a great change for the map. Previously, I felt that the Northwest was usually ending up with a stalemate, and it would be up to the people that fought in the Southeast to be able to make that breakthrough and outflank the enemies. Hopefully now the fighting should be more progressive, without everyone stuck on that corner trying to put their umbrella up and avoid the artillery shells. Now artillery are going to be just as effective, if not more, at trying to take out tanks as they progress past the rocks. Just hopefully we're going to be seeing less 14-minute battles and resulting draws. Oh, and just in case you guys are interested, I missed out that obviously the encounter will be changing on El Haloof 2. And here you go, this is your preview at how the encounter will look in 9.2. So that about does it for the very significant changes that will have large impacts on the gameplay of these maps. There still have been some maybe minor changes to the other ones, but I really wanted to bring you guys the ones that mattered. Nevertheless, I might have missed some of the changes, and if I have, please do let each other know in the comments down below. So anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do consider rating it down below. It will really help the channel out. And let me know in the comments what you think about the map changes. Do you agree with them? Do you think that they're well thought out? Or maybe do you think the wargaming are overlooking some of the key features that you as a player might like on the map? Do you think overall this is going to have a good effect or a bad effect on the gameplay? Let me know what you guys think. But as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.